Hello, guys. How we doing? I'm saying that to the chat, but I'm also saying it to my friends here, my compadres. This podcast will blow up eventually. I think so because we are producing content that is fun and different. You guys, if you haven't already, you should go back and watch NBA basketball. There's a lot of bad NBA basketball content out right now, and a lot of the bigger touts have talked about the strategy, which I really enjoy. Like guys like Eric Beinfor have started doing strategy videos, really good videos, but no one went through an entire draft the way we did. One person posted a DraftKings draft, guys, like we did, but said nothing the entire draft. I don't know why you would post that. Maybe it's just a pure analytical tool. So what we did though is we had a lot of fun even before. Next year we got to post a pregame show to the show because that discussion was full of basketball knowledge. But we had a lot of fun talking over that process. If you guys haven't checked out as well, just to show our chops.
But it was full of a lot of knowledge and a lot of Russell Westbrook hate and love. And love and hate.
A lot of disagreements on certain people.
A lot of disagreements on Russell Westbrook. Let's just all right. Certain people named Russell Westbrook.
I want to say I think Russell's going to have a good year, but I do think we made the right decision a lot of times on that, and I want that on the record because I get accused of in our one community of being a Lions homer. I don't really think I am. I think the Lions are a fun team. I've been saying that for a couple of years, and now we are like a carnival team.
That's the whole point of being a homer. You haven't been this fun team you said you are until this year.
But I think we were. I just think we got hurt last year.
I think they were fun.
Last year you were close. Last year, everyone's like, all those real smart people knew from the Lions, like, look at this team. They're close every game. They really are close, and they got an injury bug. And they're young, newer coach. They're really close. They're like everyone who was smart knew the Lions were going to take a step forward some way this year. Now you're still sort of losing those close games, but you're scoring so much. Like if you end the year with like only one extra win, but you're like a top 4 scoring team, you're now going to have all the cachet next year where if you play well, you're going to be a great team.
Okay.
Not like you have set yourself up right now for a great like 3 to 5 year run as long as the team stays healthy.
I just want to say one thing as like a guy, I want to say a homer because like I just know this team really well. Don't forget, we also have the Rams first round pick and they haven't done well. So if we got very fortunate with a Rams hangover situation, this outlook becomes even brighter. So
like I'm saying, I saw as a Carolina fan, I saw this with Cam when we drafted him. By the end of year 2, the team was really starting to look good, especially on the defensive side with Luke after his rookie year. So everything was really starting to look good. And Cam was able to while we didn't have a great record and we were losing games, Cam was putting up numbers and Cam was able to move the offense and it looked exciting. And then we were able to pull off a 3 to 5 year run and to a Super Bowl. I can totally see as long as you stay healthy that to a degree, like Carolina wasn't perfectly healthy. Like literally the year we went to the Super Bowl, we lost our number 1 wide receiver in preseason.
I don't care if I ever see a Lions Super Bowl. I really don't. I would rather us be competitive for 17 games than ever watch the Lions in the Super Bowl. And people think I'm crazy, but I'm such a competitive person that I want my team to be competitive. And if that means we make it to the Super Bowl, that's cool. But I don't like to see blowouts. But Donnie, I'll give you the floor on this and we can move on because this is just a transparent conversation. But I do want you to hit on your favorite Lion. And if you don't mention him, I'm going to give you all the credit in the world anyways, because I know we both called it the day he was drafted. So I want this on the record. Me and you were both right about this.
Yeah.
One. Go ahead, Dan.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
I'm about to. I don't even know who you guys were talking about. I'm like, well, my favorite Lion's going to be the fucking Sun God.
Donnie can attest to this because we were texting each other the day of. This is not. Everyone's going to think, oh, Logan, you're a DFS guy. Of course, he's 7,000 now. So, of course, you're going to. I almost broke my thumbs texting Donnie, and Donnie got it out quicker than me. Oh, my God. You guys got the steal of the draft. I wanted the Patriots to draft that guy.
We could go back and find those texts.
I hope so. Because I know people are going to say, you never. I promise you. In fact, I might have been wrong.
I 100% believe that you guys did this. Like, I'll give you that.
At worst, this is what I wrote down because I remember it. I said, at worst, this guy is Juju Smith-Schuster.
The way you were talking to me about Jerry Jacobs coming back and Pascal coming off and how they loved him, I completely believe you were in the draft room and were like, oh, my God, we got Amon-Ra. Yeah. I 100% agree.
Logan thought he could have been a second rounder.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was the transition. That was the whole point of bringing up the Lions. Because I love the way Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell think. And I don't and the reason I brought this up wasn't to prove to you I'm a Lions homer, even though it probably seems like that now. But you guys were introduced to my team with Hard Knocks, right? And so you still get like the Dan Campbell bite kneecaps stuff. If you look at Brad Holmes' history with the Rams, right, and then with the Lions, this man does not miss draft picks. And then when he does, he owns up to it. But he is so energized by his picks. Like, they believe their strategy. They have 9 former coaches or players as like head coaching positions. You know, Deuce Staley, Mark Brunell. You know, Kelvin Shepard played with Jared Davis a couple of years ago, and now he's a linebackers coach. You know, we got the defensive coordinator play with the Bills. So they're not even saying like our strategy works, but they stick to their process, Gov. And that's why I know this podcast is going to work because we have fun, but we preach process so much on this show. And we're starting to really get in a rhythm. And I hope you guys appreciate it. And again, like and subscribe if you don't, even because then you can give us feedback. And I promise you, these 2 other guys are the best people I know when it comes to feedback. They listen to my crazy ideas from pillar to post, from morning to night. Like,
yeah,
we will listen to feedback. Right?
Leave your comments down below afterwards. Like, anything you say, we will look at, take to heart. Like, we're new. We are not perfect. We're trying to figure this out. So, like,
isn't that the best thing though, Donnie? That you do a DFS show, but know nothing of, like, I value you, Donnie, as a person who doesn't look at the slate constantly, but I value your football knowledge. Like, if I thought you were stupid or didn't contribute anything to DFS, I wouldn't bring you on a DFS show because I think that was one of your concerns about coming on this podcast. It's like, I don't do this, guys. I'm like, there are so many casuals or so many people that want to get into DFS that play season long. And I bring that up also as well because I'm starting to learn how to become a good producer and transition us and get us into segments. You'd be proud of me. This is a fun week because the excitement, the Christmas, the week 1, I can win $1 million. Like, you guys met Ryan a couple weeks ago. The chat met him, Gov met him. Ryan was really excited to play like the first 3 weeks. And then he loses his $20 lottery ticket and the $1 million maker. And it's like, DraftKings is a scam. DraftKings is this. You know, DraftKings support. I'm like, no, it's you and your style. And you didn't learn how to play. You didn't learn how to catch a fish. And now you're out. And now we're kind of in a weird spot where it's like people are still in their fantasy football leagues. But if you enjoy the process, you're really going to start to really enjoy these next like 3 weeks. When do you agree with that, Gus?
Yeah, this is going to be that stretch for that.
Right.
100%.
This is where the projections start to come through and like
they're really going to round into form.
Right.
Like, and I honestly haven't figured that out. I do think it has something to do with the fact that this is also the time when other sports are starting. And so multiple projection sets are being done by the industry and by people for NHL, for NFL, and then of course the big one on projections, which is NBA. And I think that helps crisp out projections a little more on top of another week of data for the teams this year. How do they actually like to run their teams this year?
Yeah.
So all of that's really starting to come together at once right now. And so, yeah, we're getting that perfect storm.
Well, you guys know what I like to do. I like to warm the toaster up and
Logan, before we transition for a second.
Perfectly fine, dude. Cut me off. Go ahead. What do you got, Race Car?
Marvin Harrison Jr. has 3 touchdowns today.
I told you.
Jesus, it's college football.
I'm just saying.
I know.
No, I know.
Look, but here's the thing, and it's okay to bring that up. I'm actually kind of glad we've seen a lot of former players come in recently and succeed. The Chargers cornerback Samuel Jr. came in, and I said before the show we were talking about a little bit that I think he could play in the NFL today, just like Leonard Fournette could play today. Like there are just some players that are ready, but with the NL deal. And with his father's profile, I don't know if he needs to. So actually, we might not see him, really push the envelope. And so it'll be interesting to see. And I think it's actually going to help college long term because there's a lot of bad college football out there. That's my quick take on that. There's a lot of bad college football. But I do like to warm up the toaster and talk about. I mean, he's a top prospect. He's going to be fun to watch for years to come. But I do like to warm up the toaster with some DFS talk, and then we get into the spread picks. That's when we spread the butter on the nice warm toast. We get it toasted up. So what I thought would be fun, and I never tell these guys the first topic because I want to keep it fresh. I think it would be cool if we go through some DFS tournament plays that are going to be chalky or low owned that we like, and we just shoot Donnie the name, and then he can give us like his thoughts on it. Because what I think happens is people have been talking about the chalk for like the last 3 days, or this guy's this price, and then sometimes we get scared off of it, or like, is this a good player, or did Total 99 from did he talk about it on the forecast too much, So I'll start us off. Probably the number one play, the best value on the board, according to most people, is Chris Godwin. Good play or bad play, Donnie, based on football knowledge? Football fantasy knowledge.
I would say that's a bad play this week.
Okay, why?
I like the Falcons a lot to slow down that offense in general. And there's better receivers out there that you can grab in games that will probably be more high scoring. I get it. Brady doesn't lose to the Falcons very often, or I don't know if he's even ever lost to the Falcons. There's a lot of exterior non-football stuff going on with him as well. The offense hasn't been scoring. It doesn't look good in Tampa Bay.
So you don't like that play. So what I'll do is I'll kick it to Gov. Who would be the pivot off of that play, given your DFS knowledge? So Donnie told him not to play that guy. Who is the process play to play instead of Godwin for about the same price?
Well, let's see. It depends. Let's see. So same game leverage. I'm trying to figure out what would be the overall best leverage. So there's 2 different ways you could leverage off of Godwin in my mind. Mm-hmm. You either leverage in the same game, or you leverage in like you said, in the same price. So I really do like just playing Evans. If you can just find the money to get up to playing Evans, that would be my first and best leverage. Or even better, like playing a different skill player than Godwin. Like I love Lenny this week too. I think he'll have a bounce back week. So like playing one of Evans or Fournette instead of Godwin. There's a good way to leverage.
Okay.
There's also I'm trying to think. Who was I thinking? He was in my head. Now I'm trying to get his name.
It can't be Julio. Oh, only Logan would name a guy like Julio.
All right. So in the range of Godwin.
Yeah,
like he's the same price as Drake London in the same game, but they're both getting ownership.
Right. No, ownership would be okay. That's what I'm saying is like if you weren't playing Godwin and you were still building a similar lineup, because that's the thing is Donnie doesn't know about ownership. He just knows the play is good or bad.
Yeah, see, and Godwin is a good play, but if I wanted to get a different play, I'd either playing off of ownership, which is the reason I would want to leverage a play, is for ownership. So
it's
either if I'm stacking and he's part of the stack, I wouldn't mind getting to a different player, like I said, skill player from the team for the stack. But my big thing would be if he's like a one-off, if you've got last guy and you have the money for Godwin, projections are going to, if you use optimizers, they're going to want you to put Godwin in. He's going to have the highest value in projection.
Yep.
I think in the same range, if you have $100, I just go up to Amari Cooper.
And I think
that's, or like everyone else below him, I've been seeing get some sort of ownership. So like London is good, but he's getting some sort of ownership. Olave and Lockett are good, but they're getting some sort of ownership. And now you're getting to a point where you're giving up a lot of extra money and projection to get off of Godwin. So like really in his actual 5,900 price range, trying not to go more than 100 or 2 off, I really do like Amari is the one screaming at me. Like I'm not as afraid of the Chargers secondary as other people. And Amari is going to get targets.
Okay, Donnie, did Dr. Gov make the case for you to, do you like Amari Cooper better in a vacuum? Who would you rather start if you had both of them on your regular fantasy team? Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. I don't think
you probably start the number 1 wide receiver. Yeah.
You like it. Yep. Okay, so let's reverse roles. Why don't you give him a name and I'll try to sell him on the contrarian. No. Go gives you a name.
Okay.
All right. So
you can set whatever parameters you want. I'll play the opposite of what your parameters are.
I mean, I'd like to just go. How about so my best play of the week, the guy I love the most, is not like it's weird because he's showing low ownership, but everyone in the industry knows he's a great play this week, so he's going to be steamed to be a really good play, and that's James Robinson for Jacksonville.
Because
he's supposed to be low owned, but like he's getting all the red zone touches. It might be a split backfield, but like he's at home getting all the red zone touches in a good offense playing Houston. That is the worst team against running backs. It's like all the situations say that James Robinson's a good play. But he's also not pulling any ownership, which I don't believe. So what do you think, Donnie? What do you think about James Robinson? Do you like that play? And who would be who would you rather play than him?
I would, if just based off that game, I think I'd rather just go to Etienne, honestly.
See, and there's the pivot. There's the leverage. I know a lot of people are going to do that in tournaments. They do split, but like I love Robinson's role over Etienne.
I get that, but I don't. Robinson had that weird diminished role last year, which I think is a fluke because Urban Meyer's a terrible coach.
Yeah, I throw out last year, that entire offense ran completely crappily. It's almost like Urban Meyer pulled a Baker and just checked into the worst play possible.
I love the Baker slander.
I'm a Panthers fan. I will slander that son of a... Calm down. All right. Go on.
James Robinson, I get what was he a Pro Bowler his rookie year? I think he was.
He was an amazing player.
The talent
and then he tore his ACL midway through his second year, I believe.
The talent
and
is
it took
definitely
him
there.
a long time to rehab. Like he basically rehabbed the entire offseason next year, and that next year was the Urban Meyer year. So you got to remember, he was only really healthy for half of last year.
Yeah.
And it was in that weird Urban Meyer offense where they didn't do shit.
I just think I'd go with who I think is the more talented guy in Etienne and hope that he has a bigger game or a bigger one big play that just gives him the points.
See, and I've seen this year James Robinson have that play 3 times in 3 different games. And Etienne just sort of like not look amazing. Like Robinson looks like he did where it's like my big thought was you had James Robinson. He did that so well. That's why you didn't re-sign Leonard Fournette. Like people don't remember, that's the conversation. Yeah. Leonard Fournette moved from Jacksonville to go to Tampa because Jacksonville didn't re-sign him because James Robinson had such a great year. When Lenny did that off year with them. And then he got hurt, and now he's back, and he looks fine. Like he looks like that James Robinson that made you give up on prime Leonard Fournette. So like, I'll be the one to argue that I think James Robinson's the more talented back. And he seems to have proven it on the field, but they are splitting snaps. So if Etienne does break one, it could just look like he's the dude in the offense that week. But like, it's really like they split 50-50 and Robinson through 4 games has had the most production. And also they're giving him all the red zone touches. Etienne has not gotten, I think, but 1 carry inside the 5-yard line this year. Whereas Robinson has gotten 9, I think is the number.
Let me also make this point. The reason I said, oh, God, is I can't decide.
7 is the number. Sorry.
Yeah, you gave me a heartburn, though, Gov, because I can't decide if this guy is good or not. And I didn't want to have to make my case in such a public forum, but now I got to. I don't know if he's good or not. I don't know. Like, he is honestly my most conflicted player in fantasy football universe. The world doesn't matter. DFS. I want to like everything about the kid. He the way he puts his head down, the way he grinds. Like, they believe in him too. They said that they thought he was better than Leonard Fournette. Urban Meyer didn't think so.
But Urban Meyer's a dumbass.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's what scares me most about Etienne is that Urban Meyer liked him. Like, I think he should be talented, but like, we made such a big deal of Carr going over with Adams because they were, teammates in college and had this rapport. Everyone kept telling you the same thing about Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, and it hasn't translated. So maybe they knew each other. Maybe they were neighbors. Maybe they showered together. But the correlation isn't there. It hasn't been there. And I remember their owner, Khan, saying that it was either Khan, the owner, or Khan, the son, said the reason they wanted to get rid of Leonard Fournette was they thought they had a better version of Leonard Fournette who was younger. And as much as people wanted to laugh at that, Robinson has been everything as advertised. Even the superhuman stuff where you're like, oh, he's injured and he shouldn't come back, this will be it. He came back and proved it. There's just something there that's not like, jarring to me. Etienne's starting to give me Tony Pollard vibes, and you guys know I'm not a huge fan of Tony Pollard. I don't know, but it's just like, is he just a scat back? So I'm siding with Gov on that one. Why don't we now transition, since we did some group thinking there, why don't we transition to some of our individual picks? Donnie, why don't you give us an update where we are on the spread pick, and then we can get into the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So for Logan, you had the Jets money line and the Rams money line, which left you at 3-3. Gov went with the Jets plus 3.5 and the Jags plus 6.5. That gets him to 4-2. And I went with Houston plus 4.5 and Arizona money line that has me at 5-1. I don't think any ground was gained or lost, right? I think we all went 1-1, right?
Yep, sounds about right. 500 week all around.
That's a positive for me.
You'll live to fight another day.
Yeah, and this week, I'm glad you mentioned that, Gov, because we're going to fight together. And the reason I did this was because I want to make this as entertaining as possible. And so I always want to throw a wrinkle. And sometimes I'm accused of balling things up too much and making a wad, but I do think this one is going to be fun. So we're going to pick 2 picks on our own, still have the spread pick show. But then we are going to pick a third game where we all 3 have to agree. And I want the chat to tell us whether we're right or wrong. And I get the first couple weeks, we don't have the viewership, it probably won't be there. But if we build this rapport up enough, so the chat will decide whether they agree with us or disagree. But the 3 of us have to agree. And some weeks we might not have a pick, and we'll just have to take a 0 that week. So I want that to be an option. All 3 of us have to agree. We can't just do this, okay, well, the 2 of you agree, so that's the type. No. We have to like this game, whatever game we choose. We have one this week, I believe, so it'll be interesting to see that discussion. But did you want to start us off with your individual game, Donnie?
Okay. The individual game I'm going to start off with is going to be the Titans Commanders game. Titans at -1, I think, crush. I think Henry's going to have a huge game. What do the Commanders bring? Genuinely, a turnover-prone Carson Wentz, and Tennessee's just a ball control team that's not going to, even with their rookie receiver Burks out. But how does Washington respond to any team? They're garbage. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Awful to watch.
This game is a more fun carnival version of the Denver Indianapolis Colts game. Like, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be entertaining. We might see some DFS scores like a guy like Terry McLaurin, things of that nature. But I'm glad you got that one off the board. I would not have agreed to that game. That game, I don't want to watch a second of that game. Not a second. I mean, that's going to be ugly. Gov, you got anything on that game? Because I hope Derrick Henry stays healthy in that game.
I do hope Derrick Henry does well. I have him in a lot of fantasy teams.
I don't. He doesn't need to do well.
Carson Wentz is a solid quarterback on the week. Like, he was in consideration early on for like a puke stack for my DFS, but I'm not going to get there. Not this week. He has paid it off before this year. So, like, he was in consideration, but I'm just not going to get there to him this week. No problem with him with that game. Like, -1 on the Titans in basically a pick'em game. Like, yeah, you can go either way. Because, like, most likely they're winning by 2 or more points just because of how football goes. And if you think the Titans win, then the Titans win. I don't know who wins that game.
Yeah. So
I think it's a straight pick'em.
But here's the fun part about this, though, because I don't like it at all. You seem to have some interest, and then Donnie picked it. But here's the thing: now we're starting to get into a rhythm. So it's like that sleepover moment where, you know how when you guys first come over to the house, Mom, she's got all the hot chocolate, she's got everything ready, no one fights. And then you guys would ask if you can go into the refrigerator, and everyone's kind of timid. We've done this podcast enough where it's like, now you guys are going to have to start getting your own drinks. And the hospitality is going to go down a bit. Next week, I'm taking the first pick. But this week, I'm going to let you take the second game of the week. Hopefully, we don't have the same one. What is it?
So, my favorite game of the week is the Chargers and the Browns. And my pick for that game is Cleveland +2. I see it at +1.5 to +2. So I like taking the minimal points for the Browns to pull this out. I think they're going to keep it close. I don't think Herbert's going into Cleveland and just blowing them out. So my first pick is Browns plus the points, which I have at +2 right now is my line.
Do you like that game, Donnie?
I don't like this game. I'm of the mindset of where I don't know if Cleveland's going to have the offense, and I already said last week I don't love the Chargers anymore. The injuries have piled up for them. I guess Herbert looked good last week, so but
see,
I just
that's
don't.
my exact thought. I don't really trust the Chargers to do anything well. I'm not sure if Herbert's fully healthy. They don't have Keenan Allen. Like, yeah, they can. Last week against Houston, Houston is a crappy team. Like, hence my James Robinson pick. So, like, last week against Houston, the Chargers look good. But then then on the other side, the Browns have put up 23 plus points in every game. They've been in every game. They're 2-2. They're at home. It's basically a pick 'em spread again. And I think I'll take the Browns.
Let's go back to that for a second, because even last week I picked Houston.
Yeah.
And that almost won. They were down, wasn't it 27-24 at one point in the fourth quarter? And
then the Chargers offense. Yep, the Chargers scored a garbage time touchdown. Yep.
Yeah.
They have offense, but even again last week, with what we've seen, we haven't been trusting them. And the Browns are they are a solid team. Their defense hasn't been great, but they get Myles Garrett's there. They have pass rush, and again, they're in Cleveland. So I'll take the home dog. I'll take points on the home dog. It's a solid bet.
Earlier this year, I want to bring this up. I thought that the Browns would be just as fine Brissett as they were with Baker. Logan called me crazy. Does that look crazy now still, or I don't see much of a difference with that team.
No, if anything, Brissett's not making this dumb mistakes and just letting the run. If anything, the run game looks really it always was the focus, and I think that was what had to happen. If the coaches didn't make the run game the ultimate focus, where it's okay, Baker, you don't even have a check out of this to a throw unless you just do something on your own. You have this run or that run or this run to check into. And that's really when Cleveland worked well. Now you have a quarterback who you trust to just make the right decision, and they still just run the ball, but now it's good runs instead of Baker picking the worst run play at the time between the three that they gave him. Again, maybe it's a lot of Baker hate, but I'm a Panthers fan. Yeah. I'm a Panthers fan, and it's making me mad
for a while. So
I think Brissett is a perfect backup quarterback, so he's going to be solid. I think I'm one of the guys, for people who know me, I trust my dad a lot when it comes to sports. I try to talk to him, and I try to take what he has to heart, so he talks me off cliffs. But he's been a Browns fan his entire life. So I've watched Baker while watching him my entire life. Or for Baker's entire career, let's say. And I think the Browns actually, if they are solid, let's say they have 6 wins when they get to week 13, I think Deshaun could have them make a run. Because Deshaun, for lack of what he is as a person, he is can be an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say for him as a person, he's top 5 talent at quarterback, top 10 talent at quarterback.
Gov, would your dad be willing to participate in our spread pick show every week? Because I would definitely include him.
He wouldn't be able to come on, but
I'm
sure I could ask him for his what's your one pick of the week?
Right.
If Dad's lock of the week. I might be able to get Dad's lock of the week. We'll see.
Yeah.
I could get one of those too.
Let's do it. I am the biggest sports nut. I might have to team up with my friend Ryan to do it, because I don't have anyone really in my family that knows anything about sports. I'm like the sports.
That's the thing though. My dad's been really good. Last week, when everyone I knew was trying to play Pittsburgh stacks, and the Trubisky and the Pickett starting stuff looked really good. My dad, me thinking it's the Browns homer, is telling me dude, Pittsburgh's god awful. They're not doing anything. Just look at what they're gonna do. And then of course they come out and lay a flat fucking egg against Buffalo, or whoever they were playing last week. I forget.
So everyone's okay with the friends and family idea for next week. So we'll pick one game next week, and then you have to include a family member, and then tell us why you included that family member. So obviously for Gov, he expects his dad quite a bit. He just kind of laid off that story. So we'll get Donnie's next week. I'll tell you who I chose, and then because I do like putting a wrinkle in this each week to kind of keep it interesting.
All right.
So.
Wait, I have something a little off topic, but we were talking about it early. I did find the messages, and they are in the Discord.
I figured you would. You can read them. It'll definitely be fun. Let me give my pick though, so we can transition. I do want some of those live. Why don't we say that for the end of the show, Bandit? We'll close up on with some fun back and forth.
What is your favorite game though, Logan? I want to hear this.
I got
I'm writing it down before he even says it.
I got the Steelers beating the Bills.
My God.
But that's my personal bet, okay? Because the odds were so good, I had to take the money line. I also took the points. So to play it safe, I want the 14 points. Does everyone else see 14? What do you guys see? Whatever it is.
I've seen 13.5, but I
had it. Well, I had it open at like 9.5. So you probably find 13.5 or 14 as it's been bet up to that. So,
I want the worst number you can find. Like I'm confident this is going to happen, but you got to get
no. 14 is what I have around that you could. If anyone were to try to go out and bet now, it's most likely going to be 14. Places.
That's fair.
So
I do think they win outright, though. I really do. I'm a huge fan of Kenny Pickett's analysis. I did not like him coming out of college. And I get that he only threw, I think, 12 passes. Gov can check because Gov's really good with analytics and probably already pulled it up. I think he threw 12 passes. But he already has a rapport with George Pickens. That's his favorite guy. I would argue with you that Johnson is the best route technician in the league. He should be smiling ear to ear because I tell you what, he almost broke his foot in Cleveland. He was so open on some of those Mitchell Trubisky dropbacks, and he would just miss. So he was stomping his foot like a child that was angry. Truly, I was afraid he was going to hurt himself. He was like trying to jump up for the ball and some of those. But here's what I saw in the limited exposure. It was almost like Herbert, where we saw a different quarterback in college, and then in the NFL, he raised his game, which tells me that Pitt team might not have been that good, but Kenny was always as good. Similar to Justin Herbert. Now, I'm not saying he'll be Herbert, but a lot of people didn't think Herbert was as good as he was early. And I just like that offense. I like Harris. I like Johnson. I like Claypool for the role. And obviously, I'm a huge proponent of Pickens. Or Pickens, obviously, but George Pickens himself, the wide receiver. I'm going to really struggle with that, but I'm going to be excited about it. Because I got
bad, though. That offensive line sucks.
That's fine. I was just going to mention that he had some of the fastest release time of any quarterback last week. Now, it was only 12 passes, but he was super, super efficient.
He had to be. He had to sling it.
And he was. It came out very quick. I want to say he was top 5 in the league for release time last week, and that was in mop-up duty, granted, but like for a rookie to have that kind of presence is quite impressive. You got anything to add to that?
I got nothing for you.
I would say this on the Bills side, because we haven't mentioned the Bills. The reason I like it for the Bills is their best players on the defensive line are older. Von Miller is either going to take some games off or get hurt if he stays at this pace. I truly believe that. Like even the Rams didn't use him as a full-time rusher last year. They already have some major injuries to the safety position. I do think this is their best test when it comes to schematics. Like Tomlin has been slept on his whole career. I think Tomlin is a top 3 NFL coach, regardless of team in the entire league. I think Tomlin is one of the smartest football minds we've ever seen.
All right.
In present day, obviously. I'm talking about when I say seen, I mean I didn't see Vince Lombardi or even, some of these other historical guys, I put him right up there with Bill Belichick, if not higher than Bill Belichick, in my opinion. Some of the stuff he's done with way less talent. So we can move on if you guys don't have anything to say.
While we're on
the hot take.
Yeah, while we're on Buffalo,
Yep.
I will say DraftKings this week, I think trying to fit Stefon Diggs into your lineup is a must want.
Why is that? As a guy who doesn't play DraftKings, why would he be your number one?
Dawson Knox is out. Diggs is always going to get your targets. Against the Pittsburgh secondary that has, nagging injuries. I know Fitzpatrick has a little bit of an issue going on. There's other players that they had to bring some safeties up from the practice squad this week. I don't love their secondary in general. Still no TJ Watt. I don't see the Steelers being able to slow down Diggs that well.
Gov, you're a huge. I shouldn't say huge. I know you watch it with your family. It's a family thing for you. The WWE is a real big thing. Booker T, can you dig it, sucker? Like, is this a great call out? What do you think?
Oh.
Are you doing a spinner Rooney right now?
Oh my God, dude! No, like I love wrestling, and you hurt me. You hurt me to my soul right there. Oh, you hurt me more than that Pittsburgh pick. Oh,
you hurt me with the Robinson because I had to make.
You are so lucky. I'm sorry. I'm probably got caught on the freaking audio, but I saw something while I'm going through my numbers, and it made me revise my second pick.
And
so like we'll get to it later, but like I realized and was like kind of like oh shit to myself, and I don't know if I muted myself in time.
Yeah,
so,
I knew you.
So man, my mind is a little weary. Thank you for bringing me back into this. Oh my God, Logan. Okay, Diggs though. Yes.
That's what they call a tease in the business, by the way. You're teasing us pretty strong on this news, Joe. We gotta know what it is.
I'm a good wrestling fan. I know how to work the show.
I got you. You're saying it's main event quality. It's main event quality, so we're gonna save it. It's definitely not on the undercard for Joe.
You got to work up to WrestleMania. You got to work up the road to WrestleMania. Okay.
Okay. So what are we doing? Are we digging ditches then on the road to WrestleMania? What are we doing here?
Oh, Diggs, my God, like he is the number one guy I love on Buffalo. Like,
and Knox is now out.
Like, even before Knox is out, like I have nothing bad to say about Diggs. He can totally like Knox being out and McKenzie being limited all week. Gabriel Davis still seems to be weary on his ankle injury, but I assume that'll be better in a week or two if it's not better this week. Like he probably wasn't going to be better the first week back, but we'll see how it goes.
Out.
But yeah, everyone else is out. Like we've seen him just get thrown to the entire game and catch 12 balls for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. So like it's entirely possible for Diggs to just eat.
So Diggs is a better player than Cup, right?
I want to say yes.
I want to say yes too.
Diggs, Cup, Jefferson, Chase. That's the top 4 receivers, and it's really hard to choose between any one of those 4.
Yeah, which is why
at any point in time, like those 4 are tier S plus. Then you go down to the next tier where you have like Tyreek and Waddle and Adams and like many more. Like we don't need to go into wide receivers right now, but like Diggs is one of my top 4.
I would put the only difference I would do, and I would put Adams ahead of Jefferson. But we don't have to have that discussion.
I would probably put Adams ahead of Kupp. Like, I'm not sure how good Kupp is without a good quarterback and the huge target share that he has.
I think he's better.
Like, I think Diggs, Jefferson, Chase, and Adams would probably really be my top 4 if I really thought about it. But again, we don't need to go into wide receivers that heavy. I do really love Stefon Diggs, though.
Yeah.
He is not Urkel. He is Stefon.
I don't know if you want to talk much about it, but I know when we were talking before we went live, Logan, we ended up getting Diggs and Kupp together in a lineup at one point. I don't know if you saved it like that.
We are going to build a lineup too. I'm going to put this lineup that we build, essentially the theory of it, in all my free contests this week. So we're not just doing one lineup. We're going to rule all the free lineups with this one kind of construction build, which we will get to in a few minutes here. Is there any other headline, any other like discussion points that we should hit on before we build that lineup? And because I do think once we start building a lineup, we're going to flush out some more value. We're going to hit some of the more news. And then hopefully at some point, you guys share that Saturday main event news with us, and we get that. But are you guys ready to build a lineup?
I think I'm good to build a lineup.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is now. Shout out to Lay's, shout out to Hulu, shout out to Halloween. Like these are some of the free contests. I think Guinness is doing one this week. By the way, shout out to all the beer companies that were told, hey, you can't advertise much on TV. They're like, hey, you know what? We're going to go with the gambling community. There are kind of people. So I'm seeing some Midwestern vibes with Saquon Barkley from Penn State, and then Aaron Rodgers plays in Wisconsin. So it made me think of beer, and they have a bunch of free beer contests this week. So how do you guys want to build this lineup this week? So before we name players, let's talk about, almost like we did with our NBA basketball draft, how do we want to construct a team? Like, what are some core values that you guys want to attack? It could be a player. It doesn't need to be.
I really feel like this week is the week of the stars.
Okay, stars and scrubs. For me, I want to attack targets. So if we go stars and scrubs and targets, could you add a correlation theory perspective that you like on this go?
If I'm going stars and scrubs,
you don't have
I want to focus on, and I want to focus on targets, then the first thing I want to do is I want to find a stack that I know is going to throw a ton with good, like, heavy target receivers.
Hey, man.
So
we need to be a bit different, though. So if you want to throw a theory out that we don't like, that's okay, too. I'm just saying, what is your theory? Like, what's your number one this week? For me, it's targets. I think we have to start saying, hey, this guy's getting looked at by his quarterback. Donnie likes the stars and scrubs. What's your number one?
Honestly, my number one theory is make sure you're attacking the right game. So the first thing I do every week is identify what my 4 main stacks are. What are the 4 quarterbacks I want to run with? And make sure I'm going to stack. And that will then build into other things, because I completely agree. Once I make those stacks, now it's like, okay, where are the targets going? How can I get a whole bunch of targets in the rest of this lineup in another mini correlation? Like the way I like to build tournaments, I'm going to keep that kind of profile, targeting targets.
So let's correlate all 3 of our ideas.
And I do not hate going stars and scrubs this week because I think a lot of the chalk is coming in playing the mid-range guys.
And I just want to say this. A lot of the best offenses, I feel like, are playing good defenses outside of Buffalo.
So
there's a lot of like weird wonky spreads.
And the main slate, like will not have the Ravens, Bengals, or Raiders and Chiefs, which also will be scoring points.
Yeah, a lot of the big point scorers are gone.
So let me plug in these. Think of us as optimizers or as projection model machines now. We have to do these three things in some way. So we have to go. We cannot pick a quarterback or a stack that is either in the middle range. Okay, it has to either be high quarterback stack or a low quarterback stack, and the quarterback and wide receiver have to like each other. They have to get a lot of targets, and you obviously wanted to correlate, a good matchup and a quarterback and wide receiver. So we can do all these three things. So
all right, so we're gonna either so let's go to quarterbacks and go through that then. Let's see what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's just look at the whole list of quarterbacks.
And we have to all agree, otherwise we don't get the
no, yeah, that's we'll go down the list and then take a real quick look and let's see. Okay, so you got Josh Allen, you got Jalen Hurts. Let's see. Where would you say the cutoff to mid-range is? Because I would put that at everything below Prescott. Because 6,500 and higher is a solid.
I agree.
Okay, so everything below Prescott and all the way to what's your cheap number? Like 55, 56?
You can go as cheap as you want at that point. We could go with
so basically everything from like Watson up.
Yep.
Let's say it has to be below 6K, but it also, or it can be above 70, whatever like Kyler or whatever it was.
Yep.
So you can't use that 6K to 75 range of quarterback.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I got a crazy stack idea to help us.
I know my favorite stack. I know my dad's favorite stack, and they're both cheap. Can't do Brady. Can't do Stafford. Can't do Cousins. Can't do Herbert.
Like
all
Herbert.
These are mid-range guys. Yep.
I will say, I think maybe a more out there stack would be going cheap on tight end with the Falcons tight end, getting an Algier who's going to be high owned, Mariota, and then we get our stars other places.
Mariota would be that's a very contrarian. Very contrarian.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, you can do a lot of stuff with that. That's not like
I like him.
Tampa Bay defense has been solid, but not they were beat up by Kansas City. Now, Atlanta is not Kansas City, and they are out all of their big weapons. They are starting a backup tight end instead of Pitts, but he still has London. He still has the rookie Algier, who played pretty well against Cleveland. So,
and you get a cheap tight end.
Yeah, it's going to be a very cheap and a very low-owned stack. Like, that's a solid one. I was going to go with, my stack in that range is Trevor. Although,
Logan doesn't like Kirk. I like Kirk, but...
Yeah, see, I really like Kirk, and I really love Zay. So, I could double stack it. I'd be fine going with Ingram at tight end if I double stacked it. I already love Robinson. So,
yeah.
That would have been mine. Geno's interesting too in that range.
I'm not loving Geno.
I like Geno this week.
Geno has 2 target monster receivers. Okay. So that's the thing. He's throwing to these 2 guys.
I'm just waiting for the bad game.
Oh, they come. They come and go. Or maybe he won't have a bad game because he has 2 top 10 receivers in Metcalf and Lockett.
Yep. So,
if I give you Adams and Kupp, you're probably only going to have 2 or 3 bad games, even if you're a crappy quarterback.
So we named enough cheap guys. I agree with Marcus Mariota. And
Mariota's not bad.
And I agree with... Actually, I like Geno too. And
Trevor.
So who would you guys play if we paid all the way up? So the star was our quarterback, which means then we'd have to play.
I would just go Josh Allen at that point.
It's hard to not just do Josh Allen. I can do Jalen Hurts. I really do like Jalen Hurts. He has a great ceiling too. But I think those are the payups.
I hate both of those plays at the high end. So we'd have to go.
So let's just do a low end guy. Let's get it cheap here. So how do we want to decide between? Let's say we're going to decide between Mariota and Trevor.
Yeah, I think that's it because I think Donnie's out on Gino.
Both of these games are solid games. The Jacksonville-Houston game and the Atlanta-Tampa Bay games are solid games.
Donnie, this is your choice, buddy. I like both of these quarterbacks.
Well, I think we can agree more on who to like. We can agree on a London more than
okay.
I was about to say to agree to a Kirk.
I was about to say let's do it this way. Let's go through both stacks and look at them from that way. So let's say we're okay.
And
so
I
it's
know
one of
the
those two
cheap options
quarterbacks.
are on the
So
Falcons.
let's go to the next thing. Look at the wide receivers for both of those teams. So just to have Jacksonville and Atlanta highlighted if you
Yeah.
can.
They play later.
Jacksonville's 1:00 right there.
Jacksonville's 1:00 right there in the middle, and Atlanta's 1:00 right there in the middle.
They're both the third. They're both the third.
Number.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. And then I gotta go back to Jacksonville, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They were right.
All right.
Third.
Actually, before we do this, does anybody know the weather of these games? Both decent, right?
Yeah, Jacksonville seems to be fine. It's going to be fine tomorrow.
Jacksonville's gonna be fine, and I think it's.
I live in Florida. There seems to be no problem in Jacksonville or Tampa.
Okay.
Right, and then
it's going to be normal Florida weather.
Yeah.
So it might rain for a few minutes at 2:00, and that's about it. And it might be humid.
So I didn't give my thoughts. I just said I liked them. I'll give my thoughts quickly on the quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota, outside of last week, is basically averaging. He's averaging a point per attempt, completion. So the week he got 20 completions, he scored 20 points. So I would argue the reason he failed last week is Arthur Smith just went super conservative, got scared with injuries. That thing got weird.
Well, we can all acknowledge Trevor Lawrence has a much higher ceiling.
Yeah.
But I think after last week, he'll probably be higher owned as well, and nobody's going to want Mariota this week against Tampa.
I would say, though, we're playing in free contest, and so I think this will be good because we get a lot of, novice or amateurs playing DraftKings asking us questions because we're not big touts at this point. And so, these are bankroll building type lineups. You kind of need your quarterback, even if he's cheap, to put up at least 25 points. You need a high ceiling game from the quarterback. So does that happen with Marcus Mariota's legs, or do you guys think that that Lawrence just dominates with his legs and just his efficiency, similar to Peyton Manning or with some ability?
Who's to say that this isn't a blowout against Houston and Jacksonville's just, not even going to be close and not passing? Atlanta, if Atlanta blows out Tampa Bay, Mariota's probably having a good game.
Oh, indeed.
If Jacksonville blows out Houston, which is kind of likely,
it could go through the running backs. Yeah. It could be a couple busted run plays by Robinson or Etienne or both.
There has been rumblings that this man might have a Pittsburgh Steelers moment eventually coming up very soon if Marcus Mariota doesn't just ball out. Does that motivate him, or do we go with the sure thing? We know they're not going to bench Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think Mariota gets benched this week.
Okay, I just want to mention it because there is some rumbling. There's rumblings that he's the next quarterback. It's either him or Sam Howell from the Washington Commanders that's being rumored as the sex appeal guy. The young up and coming. So I just want to make sure that didn't play into this decision. So you guys can decide this one. I'm fine with either option.
Gov, how do you feel about it?
Because there's one guy from Jacksonville I do love that we would have. If I'm playing Kirk, I have to play the other guy in the lineup because I love him so much.
See, and I was just looking at it, like I was just doing the math in my head. So the skinny stack. So quarterback, one pass catcher, and a bring back.
Yep.
For both games.
It's cheaper with Atlanta.
Is almost exactly the same price.
Yeah, but it is cheaper with Atlanta, right?
I think it is $100 cheaper with Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
If you go Mariota with London and you bring it back with Mike Evans, that is actually $100 cheaper than if you go Lawrence with Kirk and bring it back with Cooks.
Would you go Godwin?
I think we already had this debate.
Like if Godwin's getting so much ownership, it's like I think that's the thing. In the Mariota stack, yes, we could go Godwin. In the Mariota stack, we could go Godwin instead of Evans as the bring back and save even more money.
I like that.
We can eat we're already getting cheap, so we can eat some ownership. So I don't care if the stack is a little chalky because it's got that, but like because we can still get a little different elsewhere. It's
now that we got like our two cheaper guys or three cheaper guys, Godwin's
so we're going Mariota, London, Godwin.
Let's go with our star now. After this.
After this.
Yeah, after we get this in the lineup, I think we find our one star that we can all agree on and be like, this is our guy.
Okay. But are we going
put in Godwin in London? We're going to do the Mariota. So, we're doing the Mariota stack. We've decided it was the slightly cheaper one, and we can go down to Godwin and make
which allows us to do the certain starts even more.
And then we also need London. Yeah.
Yep.
At wide receiver.
Which plays into my pillar, by the way, if you guys forgot, it's the targets. Both of the Godwin saw 10 targets on his return. London's the only viable.
Godwin's the favorite target.
Yeah, Godwin is the favorite target because Brady at this point is targeting lower A dots. But Mike Evans is the touchdown high upside guy with the start and scrub mindset. And he will be lower owned this week.
Yes. All right. So
I
now we want to get our
wide receiver star. I think we get a wide receiver for a star.
Okay, so there's the first thing. We think we're doing a wide receiver star.
I go there.
Do we go Algier? I'm fine with that. That's a chalky piece. That's two chalky pieces.
Well, no, Algier's not chalky, I don't
think.
But like,
I think he will be.
What? Okay, let me ask you this question right now. What did Algier get target-wise last week?
Well, I think Logan told me.
He got 10 carries. But
10 carries.
Yeah, no, I know. But I also know that, like, Cordero Patterson got hurt, like, in the middle
end of
the first quarter.
One target for 20 yards. He is a pass catcher on some level.
And that was
he broke one good. Yeah, that was a close game. He broke one good pass
where they didn't need to.
He had 10 carries. Like, he was definitely productive.
Huntley is.
I don't know. Like, I'm not like.
I don't think
I have to really feel it to try to get the running back with a stack, but I'm not 100% against it. So like,
I would argue.
I
think we can skinny stack this. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we just pay the tight end price though at $2,500?
Yeah. How do you feel about the tight end play here?
I know nothing about this man.
He
have never
no pits. The tight end's not
Parker Hesse.
Like, yeah, it's
yeah.
Who else is eligible to play tight end?
So, Gov, here's what I know about him. Rookie, really athletic, not fast. His comparison that I had heard was Hooper.
So he's the complete opposite of.
Let's see what it does. I like it.
I'll deal with that. Like, you're getting a minimum salary tight end as your double stack. I'm okay with that. So we have our double stack bring back. I like that as a good call.
And
it's cheap as hell. We barely spent $20K.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is we're gonna pay up for the chalky Godwin, but having Mariota and the punt tight end, we don't gotta worry about chalk or anything. We're definitely starting scrub already.
Now,
okay, so
I know we talked about Diggs, and I said I thought of him as a must play.
I think we have to, because we both like him as a star, but you guys got to give me Pickens as the cheap guy, right?
I think we want to see what else we can afford before we decide to go Pickens.
And I'm not so sure, like, if we're grabbing our stud, I'm not so sure we need to grab like a mini stack. This could just be like our one-off, and then we can correlate elsewhere.
Oh, we agree. It's Diggs. Diggs is
I do love.
Yeah,
I absolutely love Diggs.
We all agree on Diggs.
We all agree. I absolutely love Diggs. I love the
I think
game.
we're loving this lineup.
Yeah, like lineup's working. Okay. All right. So next thing, we have to fill a running back slot. Now now we will do stars and scrubs. So my personal thing is I love to have like the cheaper, like, oh my God, man after my heart, Logan. Oh,
Christian McCaffrey.
If you want to go stars, there's your star running back.
You know why?
It's either him or Derrick Henry. It's either him or King Henry. Those
are
your two
Henry personally, but I also have
Nick Chubb is a close one. But since we're already like Nick Chubb is a close number, like I really love Nick Chubb. I really do. But I think it's got to be McCaffrey or Henry if you're going stars.
Here's what we can't do Chubb though. He doesn't fit my pillar. He doesn't catch passes.
If you're targeting targets, CMC is your motherfucking dude.
I know.
Excuse my language.
So, no, you're good. So we follow this man that me and Gov both respect a lot. And I'm going to give him a special shout out at the end of the show. Just personally. It's going to be like my last, 2 minutes. I always give you guys 2 minutes at the end. Al Zeidenfeld has the 5-box running back. Why don't you explain that theory to Donnie? Because I do think it's a fun theory. And that's kind of where I came up with this idea. Is where we each pick a theory and we got to build a lineup around it. Because I do think it adds something to it. Why don't you explain what the 5-box running back is?
I'll try to do it as quick as Al does. Basically, it's like he checks 5 boxes for his running backs to make sure that they're some of the better plays on the thing. So his boxes are they at home? Are they favored? Do they are they involved in the passing game? Do they get red zone touches? Oh wow, I'm blanking on the 5th. Holy shit.
At home? You mentioned that?
No, I did. At home, favored.
Red zone targets.
Red zone usage in the passing game.
What is the last one? I'm blanking too now. I had them all. I thought I had them all.
Yeah, I know. I thought I had them all too, and I go through 4, and now I'm like, wait, where did I miss one?
Well, I know it'll come to it. So why don't we keep going the lineup though? But
okay, with a split backfield.
Oh yeah, carries.
Oh yeah, they're projected for more than 20 touches, or
20 touches,
20 or 20 carry, like really, it is 20 carry, like projected for more than 20 carries, usage in the passing game, red zone work, home favorite.
That's what triggered the whole thing. That's why I didn't.
My God, I can't believe I forgot about the 20 carries. Yeah, so like Chubb gets the 20 carry. Like that's the thing. Chubb gets that, but he doesn't get the passing game. Chubb is a perennial, he gets some passing game usage. Like he gets 3 to 4 targets a game. He got 6 week 1. Like he's not completely used, but they have another passing game back in Kareem Hunt.
I need the targets. I need it.
I'm fine with that. I'm Donnie. How do you like Christian McCaffrey in the line?
I like Christian McCaffrey. I'm a bigger fan of Henry, but you're saving, or you're not even saving. We know he's going to get the points as long as Baker can throw to him, and Matt Rule doesn't completely forget that he's a part of the offense again. It should work.
I hate this quarterback. So can we just plug in this defense?
No.
No, as much as I don't like Jimmy G, San Francisco doesn't make a crap ton of mistakes. San Francisco's going to run the hell out of the ball.
If we're picking defenses,
and I love the Panthers' defense. We get more pressure than you think.
I understand. Hold on, that this is not going to win, and I know Gov likes it, but I'll stand by it. We won't play it, but they are a very slept-on defense. I just want to bring that up for our viewers. They've been consistent all year.
They get more pressure than people think. They haven't been in these massive blowout games. They've either been any game that was high scoring, it was close.
Jacksonville, by the way, is also another sneaky good defense that people haven't talked enough about, in my opinion.
I just think it's the Lions this week. The Patriots are not going to score.
Fair enough. I just want to throw that theory out there.
And I'm more on the other side. I don't know if the Patriots score, but I also don't think they're going to throw a lot and throw a lot of picks. I know Belichick is going to he's going to run all the crap out of the ball. He's going to do all of that. I personally love the Patriots defense because I think Goff with Amon-Ra will try to throw. And I don't 100% trust Jared Goff.
I've been trying to talk Logan into the Patriots defense being good. Logan thinks they might be fluky.
The one thing they have is they're probably still going to be a consistent defense with Belichick. I don't know if they have anything else because he just wants he put his defensive guy in to just run the ball the whole freaking game. So I don't know what else. I agree. I don't think their offense is going to do much. I think Ramondre Stevenson's getting steam and getting ownership, and I'm not sure I want to play Stevenson or Harris in this game. But I also know how good it is to play teams against Detroit, and it's entirely possible.
I will say Jared Goff has dropped back, I believe, over 30 times, and he's thrown an interception. I think in almost every game, including the Commanders game. And they have a terrible defense. I'm not saying it's a bad play. I just don't. So I think either Detroit wants to score a lot of points, and Dan Campbell wants to send the FU to the league that we're for real, or we're gonna get that sloppy Bill Belichick game. Nobody's gonna score over 14, and you're not gonna get any sacks. You're not gonna get any fun plays, which means you're basically hoping that no team scores, so you get the 10-point bonus that they got with the Denver Broncos and Colts. So why don't we try to fill up another position and see what we're left with?
I was about to say let's take the defense out. Let's do this. I love doing this. Let's correlate our second running back with our defense. So let's pick a cheap running back and then know that we're going to take the defense with it.
Okay.
So who's our scrub running back?
Yeah, scroll down a bit, Logan.
Because we're going to need a 5K running back.
I'm not a fan of that.
That's not cheap enough. That's not cheap enough. Keep going. Is
this cheap enough?
No. I'm trying. Okay, I'll admit I'm trying to really help you, Logan. We need to get to 4,900.
See, now Etienne's there at 51.
See, I'm looking at this.
So we can't go with this guy. What about
this is about the range we kind of need to be in.
What about Mostert?
I actually like the other way around. Can we go Breece Hall with the Jets?
Yeah, we eat the chalk because we can eat it.
We can eat some chalk because our lineup is definitely a little off.
Or we go Penny.
I don't like Penny off.
I don't like the Seattle defense against. Well, no, the Seattle defense against New Orleans could be
against Andy Dalton.
Against Andy Dalton, that actually could be okay. That actually could be okay in the dome, though. I don't know. I might like the track. That's why I was on Gino earlier, but okay, let's look at Let's look at those two and look at the pricing.
Okay.
So let's look at Penny and Seattle and see what we have left for our flex. and then
Okay,
we'll look
but
at
let's
Brees Hall and the Jets and see what we have left for our flex.
Let's do this first. Who do we think's more talented? This kid? Michael Carter.
I don't know. Michael Carter's been looking good, and I haven't seen anything crazy out of Brees Hall yet. But I think Brees Hall is the more talented back.
Because Brees Hall has been getting more touches.
Now Kenneth Walker for Rashad Penny.
Walker, his usage has went up.
I like Kenneth Walker more than Rashad Penny.
See, I can't do that for DFS because even with his usage going up, that might have been because of the Detroit game. And the fact that they were out Travis Homer, he kind of has to take on a little more role.
True, but he was a workhorse at Michigan State. And he
might end up becoming the workhorse next year, but they're probably going to run Penny out this year to make sure.
Why don't we let that be the tiebreaker then and take Hall?
Well, no, I want to see what we have left. That'll be the tiebreaker.
Okay, fair enough.
So let's do Penny and Seattle. Plug those in real quick and see where we're at in the flex. Because I don't even know what the defenses are. So 2,500 for Seattle. That's pretty solid. That's a good cheap price. And then Penny was like 45.
Penny was
53. Okay.
Which leaves us.
So that leaves us with 5,600. Okay. So let's look at flex 5,600 real quick. I got this written down. So let's just look at this real quick.
That's also why I brought up Elliott, because I know the Cowboys defense is real cheap.
Okay. So let's go down to 5,600 and
it's Tyler Lockett. That's the problem with this lineup. Because if we went Brees Hall, we could go with Lockett.
Well, no, let's look.
Well, we can afford DJ Moore and have a mini stack with McCaffrey and Moore.
I don't know. I don't trust the Carolina offense. I need the Carolina offense to go through one guy, and I think it'll go. If that's going to happen, it's going to go through.
Okay.
Now,
I did
so
say
5,600 left for a flex. Lockett is good. The very rarely seen, but could work in this situation.
What about this young man?
I was actually thinking the same sort of thing.
Me and Logan talked about this earlier before the show when you weren't in. We were talking about Ayuk.
Yeah, my dad likes Ayuk. I'm actually thinking the same thing, but it's very rarely used in contrarian. Go with dueling running backs, and go with Jeff Wilson and McCaffrey. There's a mini stack.
Well, I like it.
So right there, I think we have two or three options. I think we have 2 or 3 options in that range we like.
Are you allowed to put this in? Or no?
Well, because we haven't decided defense, so we're good.
We have
our defense. Oh, we haven't.
No, that's it. We haven't fully decided on this. It looks like we have a couple of options right here. So before we really decide on this, let's look at the other side. I have this. I have it written down. So now don't put this guy in. Take out Penny in Seattle. Put in Brees Hall in the Jets and see where we're at flex. I don't know where. I actually haven't done the math in my head to see how much money we'd actually have.
I think Hall's $100 more than Penny.
Yep, but then I don't know where the Jets defense is.
Probably lower.
I think they're 2,200 because I'm a crazy man.
So we could get up to someone even higher.
They're 2,600. They're more expensive.
So $200
more. So we actually have $300 less. But
I am for real.
Okay, so
wait, you put in the Commanders, Logan, on accident.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, so it's not $300 less. That's $27.
It's $200 less.
Jets.
That's really good. I do not want to be a communist. Thank you for that.
Okay, so we're still essentially in the same range, except we can't get Tyler Lockett, but we still could play
Ayuk.
And we can't get Tyler Lockett, and we can't get Jeff Wilson, but we still could play Ayuk.
We could. What do you believe CeeDee Lamb's availability for tomorrow is going to be, Jeff?
I think he'll be fine.
Because Michael Gallup caught a touchdown with CeeDee in the lineup.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with Michael Gallup, to be honest.
some of the options
That would actually be a good PMR for the lineup too. Late game PMR. Gallup catches a good touchdown. This lineup's shooting up in front of everyone. Like I really don't hate that.
Let's talk about it because I know some cheap options. We got DJ Moore, right?
Yep, I
We
don't.
got Rondell Moore, but AJ Green's coming back. So why don't
wait. What about Elijah Moore? Do we not feel good about that?
I
don't know how much I feel about Zach Wilson against
maybe
he has like that. That's entirely.
Okay,
but then we're saying like Breece Hall and Elijah Moore.
Well,
the
if
Jets
you get
defense,
that, you could pay up at tight end.
Here's why I think we have to go with the Hall because it fits our narrative pillars more. Hall catches more passes. He saw 6, 11, and 9 targets in week 1. Only week 2 did he catch only 1. He fits all of our requirements for the most part.
I think we're gonna go with the Hall Jet stack. I do.
Yeah, so why don't we do this with a tiebreaker? So we each name 2 guys we like, and those guys I'll go through and find out who has the most targets of the guys we named. So do you have 2 guys off the top of your head?
I'm about to look in that range right now. Flex 5,400.
What about you, Johnny?
I don't know the list of price.
All right, so Ingram, Ayuk,
Penny, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why don't you just name some players?
Edmonds, Garrett Wilson, McKissick, Robert Woods, DJ Moore, Kittle.
I think it's CJ Hawkinson. Could be interesting.
Palmer, Etienne, Corey Davis, Rashad White, Dortch, McKen. No, we already have Diggs. Let's see. My 2 would be This is a rough range, actually.
What about Higbee? You know what? We can't finish the lineup, so why don't we let the people decide?
Yeah, this is a good sign. People can figure out what you want to do with 5,400 because we can't figure out what we're trying to do with fucking 5,400.
And
there's a lot of good options.
To be honest, like we wanted to go scrubs and duds.
Right. So give the people the theory play. We're not building a lot of people draft teams. This is just in theory. What are some theories like if you're going to do stars and scrubs?
If I'm going to do stars and scrubs, maybe I just pay down for a flex and then use the money there to upgrade somewhere else. Like maybe now we don't like either upgrade tight end or maybe even we don't play the Jets and correlate the defense and now we play like a higher price defense. Something like that. So like maybe we look like, you know what? I'm going to say it just because I know Logan's going to love it. But if you play George Pickens,
he fits the
at 4,300. Now you have 1,100 to go to a better tight end at 36 range, or a 3,700, or you can pay up at defense. There's kind of very contrarian thing.
I was just
and then you'd still be correlating in the lineup, so I wouldn't mind losing the correlation of the defense with Hall or something, or losing the correlation of the double stack and going with a one-off tight end. Like you could do either one of those things.
This is why it works, though, because
I would prefer Zay Jones, and then you have 12, and then you have like 1,300.
That would work as well, but Pickens
correlates with our star stud Diggs.
And that was one of your pillars, was the correlation.
Yep.
Pickens gets the target.
That's why I brought it up. I'm like, it just sort of fits there. Like my favorite guy in that range, if we did the mid price, would be right there, George Kittle.
I do
that would have correlated with McCaffrey. That would have been my pick for the flex. Go double tight end.
And guys, he was really close to having a T.J. Hawkinson-like week. He missed a touchdown and missed. And Jimmy, I believe, this is my personal belief, missed him for another 50-yard touchdown. It would have been so he missed him or he was just out of the back of the end zone on a touchdown, but they called back. And then he got missed for at least a 25-yard gain that I think he would have scored on. If those two things happen, he looked great. So you guys can just decide from there. That would be probably two of our but I don't mind the some of the other things we talk about. Brandon Ayuk as well, Donnie mentioned. So, I like this a lot.
But if we're gonna do the scrubs and duds, let's do it scrubs and duds. So I'd say throw Pickens in there, and then what would you guys rather do? Upgrade the tight end or upgrade the defense?
I'd rather upgrade tight end.
Okay, so get rid of the tight end. Let's look at the 3,600 range at tight end.
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram's nice. I do not mind that, but let's just keep it at tight end in general.
I was about to say, don't type in a specific player. Just go to tight end and let's look.
I wish there was an affordable tab.
Click tight end because you're in all.
Oh, I am. My fault.
All right. Yeah, now you're scrolled all the way down. Like, scroll up. Let's see where we're at.
I saw OJ Howard. Is that? Hold on.
Okay. Let's see. So below Dawson X, let's see. Gesicki, Braid is out. Schultz, the man, Disley, Irv Smith, Thomas. What's right below Thomas?
I think Ingram would be the guy.
Komet, Jawan. I like Ingram.
Who gets the most targets of the cheap guys that you like? That'll be the tiebreaker. In theory.
In theory, okay. So in theory, I love Ingram.
Oh,
for
Braid's out. So we could go with the rookie for Tampa.
Cade Otton. I was about to say we could switch up to a different cheap tight end, but then we still have like 11. He's 2,500, so then we'll still have the 1,100 to spend somewhere.
I'm saying you could do that,
and you could spend up on one of those receivers.
Well, we could
the other thing, I was gonna say, if we wanted to decide between two tight ends in this range, it's my favorite is I like just with you guys. I like Evan Ingram. The other one would be to just like with the thought of the lineup, we could correlate and look at Gesicki. Maybe Teddy likes the tight end a little more.
I don't like Miami.
He does like the tight end.
What was his targets last week?
That's the thing. Let's look at the targets. What was Gesicki? I don't even know.
I want to say he was only targeted 3 times. He did hit my prop though, so that's how I do know he was targeted.
4 times. That's not much.
Yeah. Okay.
He's invisible in this offense.
So no Gesicki. So do you guys want to just go back down to the 2,500 tight end and then upgrade somewhere else with the 1,100?
I think
we could go to Mike Evans.
I would upgrade. I would upgrade Godwin. I don't know if we'd want to do Evans or someone else, but.
We could go back to either the Atlanta tight end or the Tampa Bay tight end.
I think it's better.
And then Godwin could, and then see if we go Tampa tight end, then I'd kind of want to get off Godwin and not even go to Evans. Just go to another scrub, to another star because we'll have 1,100. We'll be able to get to like a 7K guy. Let's see what we got.
I know that this guy has a higher volume, but Kyle is still there. Kyle Rudolph.
Kyle Rudolph's been there, but he's been inactive like 3 weeks. Even weeks.
What was Kyle Rudolph's targets last week?
Nothing.
Okay. He didn't play. He was not.
I think that decides. We don't even know what's going on with that. Really. I'm sure he'll be active this week, but if they'd rather play Cade Otton.
No, I'm fine going with Cade Otton in this lineup. So we
Or
do
we can
that,
go
and then
back.
we use the 1,100 on Godwin to upgrade to a star wide receiver. And even more star. Get out of that 5,900 mid-range where like all the ownership from like 55 to 65 is going at wide
I'm telling
receiver.
you, I think
And
we
after
just
this,
like that.
we need to get to our last spread picks.
Yep. We'll get to the picks after this. So
I think
let's
we
do
just
last
go
one.
DK. DK Metcalf.
Oh my
though.
God, yes. Can we play Metcalf? Can we get to
We
Metcalf?
can.
Yes, we can.
He's 68.
Are you allowed to hit this in?
Nope.
Don't care what happens. I like this. Yes. Okay. There you go.
And you get $200 if you want to.
We
try
have
to
our
get...
we have our stack.
me-
We have our bring back. We have a mini stack. We have a running back defense correlation. We have our favorite stud, and then we have DK Metcalf. One off.
Now,
I like that.
I would tell you could go with Mike Evans as well. You could pay down at the defense. Or no, sorry, you could pay up at the defense, for
Yeah,
example.
you could
and
go back to Godwin.
The
You can pay up a
Panthers.
defense. There's a lot of things you can do with this line.
Well,
Yeah.
you could also like go down to Atlanta's defense. That would give you another 4 and see if you. I don't know who that would get you up to at. That would get you 74
Right.
remaining.
And at that point, you're still saying there's a lot of points in this game. We're not playing Tom Brady. You're saying, Aden's going to catch a bunch of passes. Tom Brady's bad offensive line is going to take a lot of sacks. The game's just going to get crazy. There'll be a lot of dropbacks. So there it is. So what are we missing that we got to do besides the pick? I think we pretty much covered everything. Oh,
yeah.
that's what it is. You got to tell us your big news. The big main event.
And
So-
do we have a lock of the week personally? But maybe we go straight to the lock of the week and then finish out with our personal picks.
Yeah. I'll let you guys go first.
You guys I'm going to tell you, I know what you two guys said, and I'm with that. So you guys go. The lock of the week for the three of us. What's our game? I agree with the game you guys said you both like, I'm with.
Rogan, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we can go with that one. You can break it down.
All right.
Yours, so.
It's gonna be the Jets plus 3.5 against the Dolphins with Teddy Two Gloves playing. I love how the Jets have been playing recently. Honestly, this was going to be my personal pick, but since it's going to be a lock of the week, I guess I need to grab my third game. I'd go as far as taking the Jets money line, though. I don't know if you guys would want to make that a lock.
I have, personally. It's in my betting portfolio. That's the only thing I want to mention real quickly. If I say something on the podcast like I like this play, I will tell you if I'm not actually playing it. But I'm going to say 90% of the time, I play the things at my personal level, at my responsible level, but I play the things I count for the most part, as much as I can. So I will keep it transparent that way.
Gov, are you saying money line or spread?
I would definitely take the spread.
Yeah, all
I
right.
always like to take the points. Although the Jets can totally win this game. So, if you want the money line, I'm not against it.
All right. Are we allowed to use this as our personal pick or no? Because it's a lock of the week.
Nope. You cannot no longer use that as a personal pick.
About to say. So, should we do it reverse order? So,
Yeah.
Logan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Detroit Patriots.
Of course it is. Of course.
Give me.
What a fucking shocker! Oh God!
Hey, I was just gonna mention that. Goes. T.J. Hawkinson, who doesn't say anything in the media, said that this is fuck you week. Now, do you know why it's fuck you week?
Why?
T.J. Hawkinson has reported. He was the one that broke the story about Darius Slay getting called a derogatory gay man's term that I'm not comfortable saying on this podcast to Darius Slay in a meeting, and apparently has treated a lot of former Lions very badly. And So what Patricia would do, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, so his version of motivation would be he'd call you into his meeting room. He would tell you something that somebody else said about you, whether it was true or not, to motivate you. And I guess the worst of the violations was calling Darius Slay a gay man because he hugged one of his friends on Instagram. But he would do this with multiple players. He told the defensive tackle, Adrian Robinson, that he would never play in the league. And he's lucky that Bob Quinn liked his fat ass. Like, he said some really bad things about people. So we just saw TJ Hawkinson come off his career game. So I can't say, like, oh, you guys got to lock him. His ownership's going to be crazy. TJ's never really been an outspoken, like, I'm motivated because of X. So for him to call it fuck you week is that's pretty high praise, pretty angered hippie, if you ask me. Because usually TJ's got the long hair, he's got the California vibes. Someone's got him on fire this week. I do not know if he plays better with fire because we don't usually see the fire in the belly. So I don't know what to expect. Kobe would always play better with fire in his belly. Some players don't. So that's what I will say. But I want the 3.5 points just to be sure. But I do have the money line personally.
All right. I'll get mine done quick. Because this is what you all really wanted. This is your main event. I could not believe this as I was scrolling through all my stuff.
Yep.
Because I knew this game had a solid total, and it was on my list of and it's one of my dad's favorite games. And then I saw the spread, and I just about crapped myself. So I told you guys my 3 favorite games at the beginning, and this is not one of them. So I'm going off the rails. I'm going off script. Vince is going to have to sue me. You're going to have to pull the Montreal screw job because I'm going to take Seattle +5.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Finally got me back.
You
finally got me back.
I'm sorry. I burned you. I had to come in running like the Ultimate Warrior. I didn't even know this was a thing came down from the Raptors. And the Seahawks +5 is my second pick.
I like this play so much, and your conviction, and I respect, in all seriousness, I respect this man's opinion. I respect everyone's opinion on this podcast, including some of our old guys, like my friend Ryan. Like, I think the 3 of us are the smartest sports fans I know. I was teetering, do I play CeeDee Lamb this week with a groin injury or DK Metcalf? And I haven't decided. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sprinkle DK in some of these lineups. I'm no longer sprinkling. We're grabbing the frosting. He is going to get in a good amount of my lineup this week. If you like him, if you like this game, you're convincing me.
I think I can go for it. I really do. Because we're going to have the revenge narrative too. Because last year we had that another one of those debacle Monday night games. It was 10-3 or something like that between Seattle in New Orleans, and it was like Geno versus Ian Book or something like that. And we're getting Geno versus Andy Dalton. I think Geno shows out.
What is the spread again? What was that at?
I had it open at +6, but I see it at +5, so I'm taking +5.
Okay.
I'll also say I love Kamara this week. I wanted to throw this nugget out there. Yes. Kamara has never been this cheap in his career outside of his rookie year. So let's put that in deeper context.
Should be a great GPP play. Yes.
Right. Let's put that in deeper context for probably the people who've never seen SpongeBob and maybe younger and watching this podcast and don't realize what I exactly mean here. We're talking 2015. He hasn't been this cheap. I am playing Kamara in a lot of spots. So the DK Metcalf bring back makes a lot of sense. Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention before we close up shop?
We need Donnie's third pick. We need Donnie's second pick.
Yeah, I had three that I was stuck for in the last one. And after I looked at the scores from last year, because I forgot what their games were, I almost picked the Raiders at +7, but I couldn't do that because they lost by like 30 both times. So I'm going to go with my other pick of Giants at +8 over the
Yeah.
Oh, the London, the man is dinging the bow.
The Packers traveling. That's a pressure game, in my opinion. The Packers are gonna be in their head with those young receivers. Give me the Giants.
Jolly old London game.
Can I add to that? And this wasn't biased, and maybe it is. I will give you that I actually like this guy more this year than I ever have. I think Rodgers has been bad all season. I think this will be the worst Rodgers looks all season. I don't think he's as good as he once was. He will have a Russell Wilson moment a lot in this season, and I think this is one of them. The Giants get a ton of interior pressure. People don't realize
is Kayvon Thibodeau playing? I believe so.
he is. He's coming back off an injury, so he's not even flashed his full potential.
Exactly.
But I'm mad because I forgot the kid's name. They call him the Dancing Bear over with the Giants. He is getting more pressure than a lot of defensive ends right now. He is getting, I think he got 8 pressures from a nose tackle defensive end position in week 3. So like they're blowing things up on the offensive line. That's an underrated bad offensive line in terms of what people think they are. I like the Giants to win that game. Similar to you, Gov, how you like the Patriots just to run the piss out of the ball. And by the way, I brought that up as a last statement. That's actually what the Falcons coach Arthur Smith said he wanted to do, quote unquote, last week. I want to run the piss out of the ball. So if that doesn't bring Marcus Mariota's ownership down, nothing will. Thank God he can run because we might see it. Anything else, guys?
That's it for me.
Yep, I think we did a good job there.
I can't say it any better. Hopefully this continues to grow. We're starting to get some mainstream attention. People like Kay Adams are starting to like our show, starting to give us some attention. I'm hitting up a lot of fantasy people in the morning and getting into the gym scene of DFS, hitting a lot of these people up when they're at the gym. Where this podcast is coming along. So hopefully you guys are gaining from it. We're gaining from it. These shows keep gaining more knowledge and more time. So I don't want to take any more of these guys' time. We're going to get out of here with this tonight. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Again, be safe, be smart. Have a good night.
Peace out, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Good show,